Hello everybody, it's BearCozy, and today we're talking about how to prepare for the new season. The new season is right around the corner, and we have a few things that we can actually do to get prepared so we are ready to go when season launches. And in this video, I want to go over a few things that we can do to get prepared to hit the ground running. Number one is going to be pick a class. Pick a class that looks good for you, to play, a class that you will synergize with. I have personally tested a few different classes that I was interested in, and I've tested a few different builds, and for me, the Rogue right now feels the best to play. So when the new season launches, I am going to be playing Rogue, and I'm actually going to be playing the Flurry Rogue because that is my favorite right now, and that feels the most comfortable to play, even though I'm not typically a Rogue player. So number one is find a class. And speaking of picking a class, you can actually look up the builds that you want to play on d4builds.gg. This site is very popular and it has all of the meta builds. And there are lots of choices to pick from for every single class. So take a look and figure out what looks good for you. And if you have time before the new season starts, try it out. If you don't, run with whatever looks good for you. Maybe look up some videos, some tutorials on how to play it, and see what the class is like and how it performs. One thing that's of note to mention here for every single build, whether you are playing Barbarian, Druid, Necro, Rogue, or Sorcerer, is when you pick a build, make sure that the build does not use uniques, does not require uniques, like this Werewolf Tornado Druid, which needs Tempest Roar. There are a few builds that absolutely require uniques. They are level 100 build or close to it. They are endgame builds, like this Shred Druid, which absolutely requires Waxing Gibeus. Waxing Gibeus is very, very good and almost required, almost 100% required for this build. So when you are looking over your class and looking over your builds, make sure you can play something that does not 100% require uniques. There are a few builds that require uniques. Most of them do not, and that is why I am primarily playing Rogue, but more specifically, I'm playing the Flurry Rogue because I've played it, I like the way it feels, and it does not require uniques. Not only that, you can get every single aspect from dungeons. Moving over to number two. Number two is going to be scoping out dungeons. Right now, I know that I am going to be starting in Kivashad, and one of the very first dungeons I'm going to want to do is this Forsaken Quarry. When completed, the Forsaken Quarry gives you an aspect. Flurry damages enemies in a circle around you, and since I am going to be playing the Flurry Rogue, that is the very first dungeon I'm going to be running. So figuring out which dungeons you need and which aspects is very key, and for that, if you are playing on the PC, you can simply hit Y, go to your Codex of Power, and then you can select Show My Class Only. This will give you all of the codexes that are available, and then from here, you can find a codex that you don't have, or find an aspect that you don't have, click on it, and that will pin it on the map for you, so then when you go out to your map, you can actually see the trail of where you need to go and where exactly the dungeon location is. Tip number three is going to be find optimal pathing. For me, I already know that I am starting in Kivashad and I'm going to be taking the south exit. I'm going to be running the Suller, which is right there near Kivashad. From there, I will be looking for herbs to go ahead and craft the XP elixir while I'm riding to Margrave. In Margrave, I will be taking the quest Legacies of Light's Watch, and then I will be running the Light's Watch dungeon, at which point I will be around level 8. From Margrave, I will be completing the cellar right here, then grabbing the Altar of Lilith on my way to complete the Mallwood dungeon, and at the end of the Mallwood dungeon, I will get the Fractured Peaks Renowned for one additional skill point, which will help me get stronger. So figuring out the optimal pathing when the season starts will not only help you progress much faster, it will help you level faster as well, but also will help you maximize the resources and experience, and to also get new gear, which we can use to imprint our new aspects on from our newly completed dungeons. The next tip I have for you is grabbing Altars of Lilith, but not all of them and not all at once. As you could see, I currently completed every single Altar of Lilith in the world. I completed and grabbed all of them, but more specifically, my tip is to grab the Altars of Lilith that have Paragon points, and there are 4 of them. As you can see, they are marked in red on the map with the red outline surrounding those altars, and every one of these altars will give you 1 Paragon point for a total of 4. So this is very, very worth completed. So you have 4 Paragon points as soon as you hit level 50, because level 50 is very, very easy and very quick to get to. And speaking of altars of Lilith, the very last tip I have for you is to get yourself an interactive map so you can keep track of every single altar you claim when you are venturing around the world. I am using d4builds.gg/map. That is the one that I'm using, and this is very, very nice, where you can keep track of every time you find a new altar. You simply click on this, and it will gray it out, and you can keep it in sync with your progress. And if you make a mistake, you simply go up to the top left-hand corner, clear all your progress, and everything resets. And this will also keep track of your waypoints and dungeons as well. So if you complete a dungeon, or if you grab a waypoint, you can actually turn these on and off. And this is a really good way to figure out where you have been and what you have completed and what you have explored. So those are my top tips for you to get ready for the new season. If you have any other tips, leave them down below. I would love to hear how you are preparing. That's going to do it for this video. Hit the like and the subscribe. And for more BearCozy videos, check out the top right.